I know we always kind of joke, not going down the rabbit hole too big, but like how much resentment for what's going on in the world, what's going on in our political system, our economy, how people are treating each other on social media because they don't like who you're voting for, right? And you don't even know this person, and yet there's all this resentment built up because you wear a certain color hat.
Put on the old reading glasses. This is an affirmation from that book that I mentioned. All that has offended me, I forgive. Within and without, I forgive. Things past, things present, things future, I forgive. I forgive everything and everybody who can possibly need forgiveness in my past and present. I forgive positively everyone. I am free, and all others are free too. All things are cleared up between us now and forever. How many of us are putting that into practice every day? Very few, right? And a lot of times to let go of resentment, you have to let go of being right.
Oh, we're going there. Good. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, how many times do we see this with men in our group in relationship where I know you say, do you want to be right or do you want to be in love?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're right. Great. How does that feel?
Yeah.
How's that working?
Exactly.
And it kind of ties into that, pointing out things that aren't working, right? Because as men, we just naturally want to fix things. We want to jump into action. All that's great, but it bypasses so much of the experience, and we want to just take care of it because we see the one little thing that could potentially go wrong. And what does that do to the relationship? What does that do to the other person's feelings around themselves, of their abilities, capabilities, and we're shutting them down because we're right.
Right.
So yeah, I'm raising my hand because that's a big one that I've had to put into practice.
And that thing of looking for the one thing that's wrong can really be, destructive and detrimental. Let's say that, you're always having to cook and your woman cooks the meal for you because she wants to do this as a gift for you. And your first comment is, wow, you didn't cook it all the way through, or it needs more salt. Good job, jackass. Yeah. You just insulted the gift. How compelled does she feel to do that for you again? She doesn't.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
So gratitude, and I believe that gratitude requires humility. Right? We have to humble ourselves to say thank you. We have to understand God, universe, source, divine intelligence, whatever. Again, your label is not important to me. Whatever that is the source of all of our good, the source of all in our lives, not us. You're not the source. A person or circumstance is not the source. So if we can humble ourselves enough to be grateful, right? Think about if you think you're the greatest, baddest, you're the only one. And are you still compelled to say thank you to anybody, or do you feel entitled and deserving? That's not gratitude. Even if you say the words thank you, gratitude is a different energy. There's a humility with gratitude.
Yeah.
A receiving with gratitude, a recognizing that we are receiving from the source of all good. So without going too religious or spiritual on it, resentment is the exact opposite of that. And a lot of times we resent not getting the deal or losing the job or the relationship, whatever it may be. It's an illusion believing that job or person or circumstance is the source of our good. It's not.
Right.
Our good comes
no
from
credit,
something
no
higher.
blame.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't have one and then not the other, right? We have to.
Yeah.
And that's an important point, is that what I'm hearing in this is to not be attached, right? And to not have expectations about how people are supposed to be. Because I know for me, that can set up for a lot of disappointment and a lot of resentment. Like, why didn't you just do it this way? Right. And just to bring it to the macro, and I know we always kind of joke, not going down the rabbit hole too big, but like how much resentment for what's going on in the world, what's going on in our political system, our economy, how people are treating each other on social media because they don't like who you're voting for, right? And you don't even know this person, and yet there's all this resentment built up because you wear a certain color hat or you lean a certain way. And it's like, one of the things I love about traveling is when I interact with people, none of that shit matters. Right. And it doesn't matter to me. It's what kind of person you are, because all that stuff's made up and bullshit anyway. Right. But it's like, but how much do we hold? My point is, how much do we hold on to that identity of someone because of, again, maybe a political affiliation or a social or economic class or whatever it may be, and we hold on to that. We have judgments. I know I've shared on this podcast and with you, where the story I was told was, oh well, they do bad things because they have a lot of money. It's like, so what stories are then getting perpetuated because of these bullshit resentments?
Right. And it's all divisionary tactics, right? It's like the left resents the right resents the left, black versus white, whatever. And the puppet masters are going, blah, because they're laughing at all of us. And there's that analogy, which is funny. One of the first times I got put in Facebook jail was for this.
You say it so casually.
Well, it's like an achievement. It's a milestone. But if you put black ants and red ants in a jar, they will coexist peacefully, all getting along. Everything's fine. And then you shake the jar, they freak out. The black ants think the red ants are attacking them. The red ants think the black ants are attacking them, and they start destroying each other. The question is not which is right, the red or the black. The question is who shook the fucking jar. Facebook banned that one because it was during the time when they were working on Division, and that one goes, "Hey, look at the puppet masters, who's pulling the strings." And Facebook goes, "You gotta fact check that. There's no proof that if you put these ants in a jar." I'm like, "Wow, really? Okay." But yeah, it's like all these
ridiculous, right?
What's that?
It gets a bit ridiculous.
It gets ridiculous.
And I say that to say that these little resentments are fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. And now
they really are.
When I see a woman driving in her Prius by herself with the duckbill mask on, still, that's challenging for me to not go, "What is wrong with you?" But it's like it's her journey. It doesn't affect me. Why am I getting emotionally upset about this woman in her car by herself? Let her stay by herself. I'm not jumping in the passenger seat,
right?
Unless mentally I do. Because now it's like, oh gosh, so stupid. It's a resentment. It's a judgment, but it's still a form of resentment. And I need to hang on to that story long enough to go tell my friend about it, who's going to side with me. Now we both have some resentment.